Good morning, everyone. I welcome all the participants for this panel discussion on the COVID-19 crisis response, supporting business education for continuity, innovation, and new normal. I request all the participants to mute your microphone. Now, starting with the context of discussion today, we are facing VUCA situation, that is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. The whole world is facing never before situation due to coronavirus pandemic. Day by day cases are increasing across the world, and India has been managing very effectively by announcing lockdown early compared to other countries. And we are now in lockdown 3.0 and looking forward to lockdown 4.0 with a big stimulus package of 20 lakh crore, which is 10% of GDP of India, by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi to create self-reliant India, to support Indian industries, especially MSMEs, with Make in India, Made in India, and Vocal for Local programs with 5 pillars, including economy, infrastructure, technology, demography, and demand to strengthen labor, land, liquidity, and laws. Coming to higher educational system, educational institutions around the globe are disturbed, and India is not alone. COVID-19 had done the impossible. Universities and schools across the country have been closed since March 16. It has changed the way we teach and learn almost overnight. These include online teaching by universities using existing e-content available on various sites and mapping them with their own courses, using Moodle to create their own courses, reworking on pedagogy, process, assessment, interaction, and in leveraging on the digital India and tech-savvy millennials. COVID-19 gave higher education the opportunity to challenge assumptions and should be the catalyst for change. What happens after COVID-19 will depend largely on what institutions do during COVID-19. Higher education should not assume it will have the luxury of returning to business as usual. The COVID-19 pandemic is set to change the world sooner than we know. The way our governments, institutions, organizations, and people think and function will radically change. Desperate times call for desperate measures. New seating matrix, staggered classes, different mess and library rules, revamped hostels and canteens could be part of students' social distance lives in schools and colleges when they return. Coming to business education, it has affected the placements, internship opportunities, interface events, admission, consulting, and research. COVID-19 crisis is forcing business educators to critically question their syllabi. What stood 6 weeks ago is unlikely to be the case today. The role of business as a contributor to society will be re-examined. In particular, we will rediscover the importance of businesses providing jobs to people, not just returns to shareholders, but also business classrooms will debate what is an essential service. Social distancing is prompting business schools to rethink how they are connecting with stakeholders. Human strength comes from diversity, ideas, systems, economies, people. Business education syllabi will need to evolve to provide such diversity. Spatial connecting is becoming the new norm, where the blurring of physical but virtual interaction is likely to continue. Uncertainty is everywhere. The teaching of how to manage uncertainty will increase, but as a field of expertise no longer owned solely by financial modelers, sentiment scrappers, and other data scientists. Virtual and remote education will continue to increase. Micro classes will become popular. B schools will form more partnership with tech companies to improve their current capacity on infrastructure and content, change in offerings such as format, content, or in store. Business education will need to give more space to teaching about social impacts and humanities concern, in addition to calculation of profits and bottom lines. This also involves educating students to be better prepared for job changes due to technological and societal shifts. In this context, this panel discussion will throw light on vital points of concerns, how business education can be supported for continuity, innovation, and new normal. Joining with us today is Professor S. Balakrishnan, Director of Studies, Pondicherry University, who is an erudite researcher and seasoned administrator and is leading our university in academic front with his novel ideas, and his contributions in creating SAMs has become very handy during this lockdown for continuing our academic activity. Second is Professor Chandrasekhar Rao, Dean School of Management, who is known for his innovative ideas in the campus and also Chairman of Institutional Innovation Council. And third, we are having Mr. Kalai Chelvan, Managing Director of Manhattan Group Pondicherry, who is leading R&D and innovation in his MNC, which got 8 international patents, and he served on the board of CII Puducherry as Vice Chairman and Chairman. And during his period, he also took all efforts to sign MOU with our university, which is not only in letter, but in spirits as well. Because we all know the Garnishing Talent program offered by CII Pondicherry, and our future business leaders, that is our students, have been getting benefits. And next person with us is Mr. Syed Sajjad Ali, Managing Director of Eaton India Puducherry, who is performance-driven, forward-thinking, hardcore manufacturing professional and a proven business leader with 38 years of his vast experience, is involved with various other activities connected to the industry and educational institutions. Once again, I welcome all the panelists. Now the platform is set for discussion. Now everybody is clear that new normal is not going to be the same. Now, each of the panelists will give their perspective on the topic of discussion today by taking 2 to 3 minutes. Then we can take some curated questions for discussion, and which can be followed by few questions from participants. Now, I request Professor Balakrishnan, Director of Studies, to give his views.
Thank you, Professor Charumati, for your kind introduction and also opening the topic of today's panel discussion in a very nice, erudite way. See, today the situation is what the country was facing during the 1990s, when we had the economic liberalization. So during that time, we were at a crossroads, and the turn we made a huge difference today. Same way, today, the higher education is at a crossroads now because of the COVID-19 crisis. It is forcing us to make some choices, which if we make right choices, we will be in the top. Otherwise, we will be somewhere, not recognized anywhere. The higher education is in that mode now. Now, the education institutions that are well prepared, that are prepared to adapt and change, taking these challenges into account, they will flourish, and we will get more students, and we will have a better way of educating them. And the students also, because of the technological shift, as you said, this is going to make a huge difference in the outcomes, learning outcomes of the students. Okay, so that is where we are in now. Now, how we are going to change, in what way we can effectively do the teaching learning through leveraging the technology is a key thing. But now, presently, we are in a, what we can say, we were forced into this situation suddenly. We were not prepared. We thought, this conventional system of education will continue. So all higher education, most of the higher education institutions in the world, they were not prepared for this sudden thing, which happened. Now, what we have to do, whatever we are doing now is not the correct thing, not the right thing. It is not, I won't say it's not correct thing, it is correct thing, but it is not the optimum or best thing that we can do. Because of the certain emergency situation, we are doing, like the teaching, learning. What we are doing, we are putting the content, we are using WhatsApp, we are using, whatever available methods we are using, So this is not going to be the way that when we, after COVID-19, or I don't think the COVID-19 is going to go away. As many experts are also telling, we have to live with it. If we have to live with it, then we should have a better technological solution for teaching, learning, if we have to live with the COVID-19. So that is my higher education perspective. I will maybe come back little later after everybody speaks.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Has rightly said, higher education system never been affected this way. And this survival of the institutions depend hugely on how they are adapting themselves and leveraging technology. Now, I request our Dean, School of Management, Dr. Chandrasekhar Rao, to give out his perspectives.
Okay, right. I'm audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So I just look at maybe today's Hindu editorial also speaks very heavily, has come out with the latest data on how the things are going on in the field. Maybe one step off of our director has said, he has referred to some past 1992, where we have started again. I go back to our the days of independence in the year 1947. Just then, the entire world has faced the World War II, and then it is rebuilding the entire world. And then India has got the independence, and we have taken one simple slogan to develop a self-reliance, self-sustainability. So this is where the government of India has taken a basic step. Something similar is happening now. It is also, although this is not the physical war, it is like almost like a World War III, and the Prime Minister of the country also referred it. Instead of depending upon, although globalization has made many of us to depend upon different other countries supplies and looking for cheaper manufacturing in China and cheaper services in India. But the day has come today, every country is looking for in-house self-reliance. So in the process, I look at a great future for India, especially with respect to manufacturing, at least for our own internal requirements and the domestic requirements in manufacturing will pick it up again. Although today's Hindu shows the GDP, the industry, IIP data shows that there is a sharp decline to the extent of 16.7% decline during this March data. Government of India itself has come out with the data, and similarly, the core sectors, very specifically when they are talking about the capital goods, consumer durables, they have come out with roughly around 20% sharp decline. But I am confident, as the industrialists are also confident, India has been facing this type of problems, but we have a self-confidence and we will revive. And the days to come, the entire education system should be able to rise up to that expectations, and we should be able to give such a manpower which can innovate and invent and sharply make this country to go for self-reliance. So towards this, I look at the management education has to be tuned. Although Government of India in 2019 itself has come out with the new education policy, and the universities also started looking at them. The COVID-19 has given a new challenge. We have to rewrite our entire education system, and we have to, as a teachers, we should also be able to look at redesigning our the pedagogy in such a way that we inspire our young talent, and we inspire and provide the opportunity for them to develop necessary skills required or the newer skills required for meeting the tomorrow challenges, and take up entrepreneurship, because the Government of India also looking at greater reliance for the MSME sector, and the universities are started already the startup centers, and it is now time instead of all this entire MBA students go for working in manufacturing companies or work as an employees. I look at the next generation or next decade management education is towards more of entrepreneurship, and they have to also join their family businesses, or they have to really make India to develop sustainability, because definitely the core sectors are likely to grow, and there's a lot not many job opportunities are likely to be to our students, provided if they are able to develop next generation skills required for meeting the new technological requirements and the new manufacturing requirements. That is how I start looking at this. The management education has to tone up, and the universities in general has to tone up with different types of strategies to reach the students and provide the necessary management skills. I get back to you again.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. And so as you said, only self-reliance is the solution now. And with vocal for local programs and support for innovation and startup by the government will definitely help our students to concentrate on developing new technologies. Thank you, sir, for your views. Now I request Mr. Syed Sajjad Ali to give your views.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Professor. You set the tone very well, invoking upon, the VUCA world, right? So in the whole VUCA world today, in my opinion, this COVID-19 has emphasized more on the U and A, right? The U being, the uncertainty, and A being, the ambiguity. So nobody knows as to where it is going to stop and how it is going to, conclude. But what is sure is that end of this COVID, certainly the businesses are not going to emerge in the same form as they were. Some businesses may re-emerge, some may re-emerge with a different form, some may not be there at all. What is going to certainly happen is that, yes, these kind of crises teach us some new things, and new learnings are, definitely, there. And in my opinion, what we can straight away say is that whichever can be digitized need to get digitized going forward, whether we like it or not. That is possible, because when I talk in the industry context, just in the last 40-50 days of lockdown, the kind of webinars we were able to conduct, the kind of customers we were able to touch, the kind of product trainings we were able to give, they were all mind-boggling. Had it not been this kind of an innovative approach, we would have spent lakhs and lakhs of rupees doing the same thing in 5-star hotels, doing the same thing in flying across the countries, spending so much. But then, today I am seeing, close to around 2,400 customers we were able to touch base, close to around 20,500 of training we were able to impart. I am sure that the effectiveness of these things will certainly be there, if not 100%, like the conventional methods, close to 90-95% the effectiveness is still there. So these kind of things are going to stay. And when we also talk about the crisis creating a lot of innovations, and very rightly the directions being given by the Prime Minister of India, that we need to really revisit all our supply chain decisions. We need to revisit all our dependency, whether in terms of geography or whether in terms of one business house or whether in terms of one segment. All these things are going to be challenged. No status quo is going to be maintained in many of the business contexts. But that said, this forum, particularly being on the educational side, I may not have the full knowledge to talk on that. But from the industry perspective, I can really see that the products out of this particular period now is going to come out of the institutions with a different mindset. I'm aware as to what will be the impact of this kind of online education across the country, because we have got varying different levels of connectivity, different levels of bandwidth. The students in the urban area will have access to all the the connectivity to bandwidth and all that. That may not be the case with the rural side. Yes, there is going to be some short-term impact. That short-term impact is going to be managing through this kind of online programs, online courses, connectivities and all that. But in the long term, while the online approach will continue to be there with a higher degree of scale, still, I don't think the conventional methods can completely go off, because even today, at this point in time, I will still remember my maths teacher writing on the board using the chalk piece, and that is still there. That will come to our mind when we talk about how he starts the first step, how he closes the final step, making the equations finally proved. That cannot be certainly replaced through the online education, in my opinion. So end of the day, there is going to be a blend of this conventional modes and also the online improvised modes. That is how we need to coin the future. And I am sure the students which are just completing their curriculum at this point in time, they have got a huge learning through this particular stuff, because these kind of learnings come once in a century, right? So I would say, more than a problem, this set of people are really gifted to see the worst possible scenarios where you cannot get out of your house, where you cannot go and meet a person, and still you need to survive. This is a different learning. This is a different challenge. And these people are going to really show the way for the whole humanity, to the industry, to the education going forward. That's my opening note, madam.
Thank you, sir. Virtual platforms and virtual business models are going to emerge, and sure that businesses can cut costs and evolve new models. And of course, the challenges like digital divide and social distancing are to be taken into account. And I feel the education has entered 4.0. Like the first version is Gurukul, second version is our university education, and third is distance learning. Now we are entering 4.0 education, 4.0 with the technology mediated education. And for this, both corporate and education institutions should work together to come out with a lot of technologies or the products or the kind of collaboration that can give some solution. We'll look forward to the other panelists. Now, thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Kalaiselvan to give your views.
First of all, I thank Pondicherry University School of Management for inviting me to be a panelist today. I also would like to give a special shout out to all the students out there going through these unprecedented times. I would like to talk about the impact of the COVID situation on businesses, and also about the student challenges and opportunities later. From the business perspective, there has been quite an impact in terms of the business processes, services, and product offerings. It's never been more pertinent. The impact has been such that the companies have been looking to redefine their all these, the upstream and downstream value chain activities. In terms of business processes, I'm sure you all have seen news on TCS cutting down their workforce drastically, and also 75% of their workforce is going to be working from home. Roughly about out of 4.5 lakh employees, 3.3 lakhs employees are going to be working from home. Look at the impact it's going to have on the building rentals, administration costs, transportation costs, fuel costs, canteen costs. So clearly, the company is looking to save and conserve cash, and setting the tone for other industries to follow if this model works fine. We have also been hearing about airlines trying to fly half the capacity due to social distancing. I don't know if it will be viable for airlines to continue to do so. How is it going to impact flying in future? Probably will bus travel by bus and by land. It's going to take off like before those days. So that is we have to wait and see for such kind of change in the way we travel. And some of the companies are talking about operating from home. We all have been seeing that, thereby trying to avoid office space, travel costs thereby, and to find out if that could be done by staying at home, work more efficiently. Exports, I would also want to talk about many companies that are exporting, and what about those exports team? Generally, traditionally the team travels abroad to show the products, to sell the products, to participate in exhibitions and things like that. But now flying abroad might take at least about 3 to 6 months. leave alone the stigma that is attached to it, but even the viability of the flights. Not as many flights as that were before are going to be available today for people to fly. So what happens to the export possibilities of which we have been currently doing? And conferences, online conferences are going to be the norm in the future. And you're not even going to shake hands when you meet business people. When you go out and trying to make business meetings, you're not going to shake hands. And so right from that point onwards, the way we conduct business is going to completely change. This is what we foresee. And in terms of products, we're talking about a new demand in terms of health sector, indigenous testing kits, and so on, and a big spurt in activity in terms of facility management for companies. There are a lot of companies that come and maintain facilities, so there is a huge demand for such kind of companies. And in the service industry, we all are we don't know what's going to be their future. Hotel industry, speaking of malls, when are they going to open, and how many people are going to really going to go to malls in future? Restaurants, salons, dentists, where all it's all going to be where there's going to be human contact. So the way they do businesses, the way they practice their professions, everything is going to go through a change. It's not that as easy as we were thinking. Specifically in my industry, which is automotive, pre-COVID was about of 2%. So I would like to touch a little bit on the automotive industry as well. The situation during 2018 was the industry was in peak. In 2019, we had various challenges in the form of BS4 to BS6 transition, and shared mobility started to take shape, leading to companies downsizing their operations or posing threat basically to automobile sales. Axle loading norms were increased by 20%, and third-party insurance for the entire vehicle was mandated. So these were the roadblocks that the industry saw during 2019, as a result of which we saw dwindling volumes. So as such, before COVID, the industry was more or less in recession, and COVID situation has in fact worsened the whole situation. Now we are all starting to look at the post-COVID strategies, like how anti-China sentiments is going to bring some of the companies here, or how are we going to become self-reliant by internalizing some of the supply chain activities which we were traditionally outsourcing to China. Plus leveraging the technology is going to be another norm on the future, like how are we going to embrace electrical vehicle future. Automotive companies like Hyundai have started designing ventilators, which is in the health sector. So we see a complete product offering change itself by some of the even leading companies. So still we want to be optimistic in the future. Some of the areas in automotive industry where we see is fleet size doubling, because today the companies are engaging more than double the amount of fleet to transport their employees compared to the previous situation, because you could hardly occupy 40 or 50% of the original seating capacity. Plus the masses risk aversion towards mass transit might lead individuals to go for purchase of their own cars. So these signs are optimistic from the automotive industry perspective. Going forward, I would also want to talk about the future changes in industry, Doctor. When of course,
we will come back again, sir, with questions. And I thank Dr. Kalaichelvan for offering this his remarks. Sure, there will be refining of services and product offerings. And as you rightly said, cash conservations has to be taken care of by all the industries, and the cash or funding opportunity should be channelized to face new virtual business models. So now the platform is set for discussion. Now everybody is clear that new normal is not going to be the same for any corporate or any educational institution, and especially for B schools which offer professional MBA programs. And the stakeholders, especially students and faculty, are immediately concerned about how university is going to handle examination post COVID-19 crisis. Though our faculty managed to conduct online classes and used various platforms to complete the portions with the constraint of digital divide issues. What are your plans for conducting examinations, sir? The question is to the Director of Studies, Pondicherry University.
It is a conductor examination in a traditional mode we were all used to. But now we are forced to think ways and means of conducting the examination in the online mode. Here, the sanctity of examination is that the student should not use unfair means, and basically it is to know how much learning has taken place. Teaching is one thing, learning is another thing. So how much learning has taken place and what is the knowledge or what is the outcome of all the teaching in the students and in particular skill development or knowledge gaining. So that is what we want to test. Now there are various methods. Now the people have devised various methods of testing it. So one such thing is that the age-old thing, that is multiple choice questions, where multiple choice questions can be put to students and within certain time frame they have to complete it. So the students are also being watched, online when it can be done. The other possibility is that you can go for open book examination. Even in the conventional method, we used to have this open book examination where the questions are set in such a way that there is no way a student can answer by copying from one book alone. He has to understand the subject, he has to know, he must have read several books, and he should he should know the correct answer. A synthesis, this is the synthesis of the knowledge for solving a problem. That is the open book examination, where you don't ask direct questions. You don't say define Newton's law or something like that. Here, you are going to ask something where Newton's law is applied. So like that, you can go for a open book examination. That is the second, where you don't have to supervise. You don't have to physically present. Only thing is you have to make sure it is answered by the students. The third is also in humanistic and social science subjects. They also can. We can ask a book. We can give a book. We can ask them to review the book. What student, how he reviews the book, so that he reads the book, and then he has to know how to critically evaluate the book. So book reviews, term papers, these are all various other methods. And today we also have a software to check plagiarism. That means the student cannot take cut and paste method, he cannot use, or he cannot copy from another student. So by checking this plagiarism, using the plagiarism software, such as Turnitin, which we are using in our university, one can always find out whether it is originally written by the student or it is not lifted from somewhere else or cut and pasted from somewhere else. So these are the various methods the teacher now has in his hands.
Yeah.
So,
excellent, sir. Excellent suggestion, sir. And as you said rightly, we are compelled to use online platforms. I think that will also open a big challenge on that quality assurance and benchmarking. Maybe the future future situation will be requiring companies or edutech companies which offer courses, and how this quality assurance in the online platforms can be taken care of, or what is the benchmarking we can set for the quality, that also we can explore. Now, coming to the Dean School of Management, sir, what would be the new normal for teaching and learning in School of Management? Do we offer, because as we offer professional programs, our style is little different, clear. And we have to have constant interaction with industry, and our students are to be exposed to corporate situations. So what would be the new normal for teaching and learning in School of Management?
Yes. So this not only the COVID impact, but there is a lot of thinking in the recent past with respect to management education to make a lot of changes in order to see when once the government of India has started looking for skill development, make in India or made in India, that it indicates that we require the manpower for manufacturing as well as for service industry. That requires a skill which is in the university education has to slowly blend itself from these, as well as it has to blend a portion of practical. So some departments have started doing some internships or some project works. Maybe if the next period, next decade is not just to end with only project work. Maybe we have to design some program in such a way that the students have to do 2 months of semester in the classroom and 2 months they have to do internship. They may have to work in the company, or they have to work as interns or apprentices, and in a way that gives them the practical insights, because although all said and done, not all the faculty in the entire School of Management are having experience with industry. Although universities are now looking for taking up at least 10-15 years experience, the industry experience, the faculty members as a faculty members, those who can give the day-to-day cases to the students. Now the things are changing. We have to design the program in such a way that the entire pedagogy is not only starts with only case studies inside the classroom, discussions in the classroom, and skills required for solving certain live problems, but they have to get into the field. They have to work in a field environment, and that too, they have to work in a large size with multiple issues, and work in different functional areas like the supply chain or logistics and finance, marketing, and on to the ground at least 2 months in every semester. If they work, they will get to know. It's like our chartered accountants putting their students for articles. Articles they have to do before getting a right chartered accounting exam. Similarly, they should also learn about the different compliances to different legal requirements. So this is an area where we can describe inside the classroom the theory of it, but in reality, when they are sitting in the company as interns, they will be learning more. Maybe management education is moving towards that. Already there are some efforts are being made of recently. Some of the company executives, CEOs, top CEOs of industry are planning for starting a B school somewhere in Delhi. Exclusively, all CEOs wants to come and handle classes and take the students and provide some internship. For example, I will just give you, we have a program on undergraduate colleges as BSc Agriculture. All of us, we know India is an agro-based country. Agriculture is a part of our life. But most of these BSc Agriculture students are from urban. They don't know anything basics about the agriculture. But they have to go back to rural areas, understand, learn. That is rather if this education started much more at the school level or in the before 5th standard to 10th standard about agriculture, the different types of agriculture cultivation processes, methods, the fertilizers, and the types of problems, and the food processing, and had this been the training, there may not be migration from agriculture to urban, agriculture to industry. The industry, small industries could have started in the nearby places. Since we are not, our education system is not designed such a overlapping type of internship, wherein the people from agriculture are migrating to the town and trying to learn what is needed in the towns. But whereas I think that all these MSMEs definitely requires a different set of skills. Those set of skills, it is better taught by new entrepreneurs with their experiences, with their rise and their failure, their problems, and the ground level realities. So this is how the education, our management education has to design. Maybe I look at the MBA for family business, MBA for MSME units, MBA like that. We may have to design a small packages, and then we have to theoretical inputs so as to enable them to management is a science as well as art. So science component will be, universities will be educating, and the art component definitely that has to be learned, and with all necessary attitude. So the tomorrow's management education is moving towards that. Then only they are all suitable, there will be employment. Otherwise they will all become unemployable and they may not be able to do anything in their life. And our education, and further we have to also see that entrepreneurship should be a part of it. Innovation and entrepreneurship should be encouraged inside the campus. Campuses should be able to organize a type of management meets or open houses, so as to invite the industrialists to look at their innovative ideas, and then the necessary corrections, and then that will help the students to constantly challengingly learn and step out of the campuses to a newer normals. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Excellent ideas. And so we are going to have a new syllabi or curriculum which has blended learning, like theory and practical. But as we all know, the project work in each and every department of the School of Management, presently now we have 2 months, that is 8 weeks training in corporate, along with the project report to be submitted. And we all have a concern that practical experience is not given by the corporate. So in this connection, I asked Mr. Kalai to give your views. CII has MOU with Pondicherry University, and we started a lot of initiatives. And in this perspective, how corporate can collaborate with industries or university to help in updating curriculum, consultancy, student opportunities like placement, internship, etc. Mr. Kalaiselvan? Sir, you are able to hear my question?
Yes, I got a question.
Should I repeat?
No, I got a question, Doctor. Yeah. As such, industries now are trying to stabilize everywhere. They're trying to set up, stabilize their operations. Many of the industries, as we know, are operating at only 30% of their regular strength, with many of the employees stuck in other states and all. So it might take 1 or 2 months really for industries to really stabilize. But in the meanwhile, we think we have to connect with the institutes also, understand the requirements. Now that, I've spoken to you, Doctor, I understand a lot of your students are available for placements, number one, and also first-year students are available for internships. Now, while industry is trying to stabilize, the industry would want to also look at the future. Every industry is planning for the future, maybe in the short term, for the next 3 years, in the long term, and take interns or recruit management students wherever applicable. But the immediate thing that we can do is to go for internships. This is what my feeling is. We can go for internships, try to engage students on the matters where we need business analytics or market research, or make financial statements, for example. So these are some of the areas really industries can think of engaging students as well. And while they are also trying to keep the cost low or freeze recruitments, but at this stage, I think this could actually throw up an opportunity, Doctor.
Thank you, sir. We will work for that scenario. And now I request Syed, sir, to answer this question. What kind of businesses or sectors will thrive, emerge, and vanish post-crisis? And in what sector do you see more job opportunities? You don't don't think otherwise, because we are so selfish that we want to cater to our student community. So we are very selfish, but at the same time, we have to grow together now. Yes.
Certainly, Professor, that's $1 million question as to who is going to emerge, who is going to remain, who is going to change shape. That's $1 million question. But then, yes, it is again going to be the fundamental that the survival of the fittest. That is what is going to happen. As we, because as we see, the whole situation evolving, nobody knows, where is the end and then how it is going to conclude. But what I can say is that immediately now, the financial plans or the business plans of any industry is no more relevant, in my opinion, because whatever was evolved as a plan for the year 2021 certainly is no more relevant. And everybody is suddenly jumping into a different mode as to how I will safeguard my working capital, right? My top line is not going to be the same as to what I decided. My bottom line is not going to be the same as to what I decided. And hence, the rest of the plans also has to be revisited, and there is a big need for a course correction, right? So the capital, what I planned, cannot continue to be there. I won't be able to invest so much on the capital. We may not be able to have the kind of growth programs what we thought should be, the programs for the year. So that way there are going to be a lot of course corrections. At end of the day, today if you see, like Kalai talked about, the automobile industry, then we talked about, the online, stuff coming in. So in net, finally, what is going to happen is, more of the digitalization initiatives are going to stay, and companies with regard to that is going to stay. The other thing, the natural imperative, but and also I would say it's a blessing in disguise for India, that India is going to see a lot of manufacturing activity going forward, right? Hitherto, China has been, the factory of the world. China was supporting, the whole world to an extent of more than 14%. 14% of the world's manufacturing requirement is catered by China till now, right? And now, as was also mentioned some time ago, that the anti-China sentiments, not necessarily anti-China sentiments, but also the need for everybody to become self-sufficient. Dependency on one country, dependency on one geography is going to be challenged, going forward. So in that context, India, along with the kind of stimulus what the government has given, is going to definitely see more and more of manufacturing activity. If that has to be capitalized, if that has to be realized and leveraged, we need to first of all capture the voice of the customer, which is not going to be only from India. It is the global voice of the customer. If you have to be the factory for the globe, then you need to understand the requirements of the global customer base. And when you talk about the global customer base that is going to be that much more competitive, then automatically you might have to fall back on the cost model, right? China's success is that they were able to break the cost model. They were able to challenge everyone, and they deployed the volume game, and then they became so competitive. Now if India has to leverage on this, India has to take that role, then we need to certainly work on the cost model, improvise on the input cost, make our processes robust, make the volume game work, and then make the durability of the supply chain. And there is going to be the future for India. And once if you have so much of activity happening in India, naturally the new pass outs from the colleges, the new business leaders coming out of the business schools, they are going to be the bosses, they are going to set the tone, they are going to set the course. And that is how I look at this, Professor.
Thank you, sir. And so survival of the fittest is the rule now. And India should grab the opportunity to invite companies which are now exiting from India. So Invest India program is making all out efforts. Now coming to the taking cue from the survival of the fittest, another important issue is infrastructure availability for online teaching and learning and online administration. And I request the Director of Studies, what strategies our university has for these kind of issues, whether we are going to have some kind of infrastructure planning, and how we are going to manage the financial impact of that, and any plans or strategies you have on mind to enhance the IT infrastructure for both teaching, learning and administration, sir. Over to Professor Balakrishnan. Actually, Professor Balakrishnan is not online. So I will take the next question to our Dean School of Management. Sir, actually our faculty and students are going to be with online teaching and learning. So as Dean, what new skills they require, and what are your plans for skill development programs? Any programs are on the way? Hello? Sir, you have to unmute your phone. Please unmute your microphone. Yeah, now we are able to.
Okay, thank you. And this is relating to the skill development. So there are a couple of ideas that we have. Of course, I have to place before our colleagues also to work it out. Today, right now, what we are doing is just before placements, we will tone up their communication skill and some soft skills, and will make them ready for attending to their placements. But the days are not so. Tomorrow, the students have to be trained with multiple problem-solving skills, and they should be able to be given trainings from the very beginning. Even say when they want to crack the CAT examination, once they crack it, once their admission is about to start, I am under the impression that we have to give them some background online classes about basics of accounting, basics of statistics, or basics of negotiation skills, basics of HR. Those are all to be given to because these are all now needed for everybody and anybody and everybody. So these basics, and further some amount of basic technology. After coming here as a business student, if he doesn't have a basic idea of technology, he may not be able to pick up many things. So therefore, we have to also give them some online, 2 months, 3 months online short courses so as to tone them for picking up the management education, because which is likely to be a level higher than today's level. And then why I'm looking at the internship, once I am looking for breaking truncated semesters so as to keep them in a practical sessions, they should also in the industry, they should also be given necessary skill before they get in there, and the companies and executives will not find time to train them. I should be able to give the behind the scene training like banking. When I put banking technology students in a bank, the basics of banking have to be taught inside the class, and they should be given the necessary idea of how to handle the retail customer and what are the general functions of a bank. And then once they get in, and they should be able to understand how to handle computerized environment, how to prepare MIS reports. These are all to be, some small background is to be given. Once they are getting into some consultancy firms, data analytics, I have to subscribe to lots of data sources. I have to make them to do some data analytics here, industry specific or company specific or market specific analytic tools they have to be taught to them. And then they should be put into the internship. So this is a multi-pronged approach. Soft skill and the skill development is not overnight, and this although the end users of our industry, but the industry also requires us to provide the basic attitude-related actions to be done by us, and then send them to the industry so as to enable them to pick up. So no student should get into the industry without knowing the background of the industry, without knowing the current trends, without knowing its competitors, and without knowing the technological impact on the industry. With all this background, if he gets in, he will be in the same wavelength of every employee there. So otherwise, they cannot spend their energy in training this boy from basics. So the education institution has an MBA program. I should take up all the steps to see that my product at least fits to the internship. He has to have the skill of doing internship. That is what I am looking at.
Thank you.
That is how I started. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, in this line only, UGC also has suggested 20% of the credits based on the CBCS system can be obtained through massive open online courses. So we can utilize this, and they are also contemplating to increase it to 40%. So we look forward to new changes so that we can incorporate in our curriculum. Now coming back to Mr. Kalaiselvan, corporates have laid off employees, and World Bank Group report, which I shared to all of you on educational system, says that catering to local demand for education could be one opportunity for all universities. So like in Pondicherry also, so many companies have laid off their employees, and whether university can go for a part-time MBA or any other courses which could benefit all the stakeholders, like say talented professionals who lost jobs, B schools like us, and also corporate, that is industry like your side, who can come with honed skills. So what is your take on that, sir?
Any economy, if we have, if you see, we have bounced back very strongly from Great Depression back in 1960s. 2008, Lehman Brothers fiasco was there, and again we have seen the economy going to the lowest bottom, and then bouncing back with all strength, and only to do much better. So this phase of recession or, probably slowdown in economy is not going to go up or last long. It's like a sinusoidal curve. It's going to go down, and when it comes back, it's going to come back very strongly. This is my optimistic view of the whole situation. And when it comes back, obviously, like Syed said, manufacturing activity, if it really kickstarts here in India, obviously there are a lot of companies that are going to come up, and which means they are going to provide jobs, more and more jobs. So I think the students should now look at themselves upskilling. This lean period should be used purely to upskill themselves in wherever, whatever possible ways which could fit themselves into the industry seamlessly at one point. So towards that, I think part-time MBAs will make a lot of sense because for the undergraduates who is looking to have post-graduation in management, I think this is an ideal platform. And use this period to really skill yourself. In the next 1 year, when the job situation picks up, you are ready to get employed. And some of the sunshine sectors, maybe health sector, chemical industries, medical equipment, pharmaceutical industries. Now that we have seen how pollution-less India looks like with clean waters and clean air. Probably environmental-based industries also might hold a good size. These industries could be sunshine sectors for the next 2 or 3 years. So students can focus on those studies related to those industries as well. To answer your question, Doctor, yes, like I said, part-time MBA here in Pondicherry will make sense. I'm sure just that you'll have to make it much more visible, Doctor, for many industries to know that you are having this course going on. And we will also from CII do our bit to familiarize. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir. And it is a nice opportunity for the students and the faculty to upskill their talents. And we look forward to work together for this part-time MBA as well. And coming back to our director studies, sir, actually, we were talking about the survival of the fittest. So now every university has to go for online teaching and learning and online administration. And our university also has a lot of practices, best practices like SAMs and other related infrastructure we are in a phased way we are creating. What are the strategies you have for our university to cater to this new requirement for online teaching and online learning and online administration?
Now, because we are going for a online teaching, naturally, everything should follow. But fortunately, some of the universities already have online administration, online learning management system to variable degrees. Like, for example, in our university, most of the back-end operations, like paying the fees, registering for the courses, uploading the grades, etc., this have been already made online. Whereas now, what we need to do is the front end about the actual teaching and getting the assessments of the students, their assessments, evaluated. These are the things that now the university should plan to execute post COVID-19. Now, fortunately, we are in a better shape because our students and faculty are already got used to last 2 years. They've got used to doing certain things online. But now it is only some more steps we have to take to complete the entire process. As also pointed out earlier by Mr. Syed Sajjad Ali, that the future it is going to be both a mixed type of teaching, that online as well as physical contacts, both will be there. We cannot do away, wish away with everything cannot be online. We have to have certain programs conducted through physical mode. So to that extent, that we have to gear up our online delivery system. There are two things here I wish to point out, that online delivery doesn't mean that we record a lecture and send it, and post it, So that is going to create a big problem, because why I'm telling, the contextualization of the teaching learning is most important. The contextualization, you mean that what is the level at which the students are there, so that at what level I have to begin a lecture. If it is a package thing, we don't care. There are so many very excellent MIT professors have given lectures, IIT professors have given lectures on various topics. But the problem is whether the student will be able to assimilate that, digest that, learn from that lectures, because his level is different, So that is where our university, we have to understand first what is the level at which the students are there. Then we have to transform our, the online education in such a way that everybody is, taken in. Everybody participates in the learning process. So that is going to be a big challenge. It doesn't mean that, packaging some soap, say Synthol soap or this soap, that everybody one size fits all. That will not work here. So we have to devise every semester, every class, we have to assess the students and then prepare our lectures and keep it in modular form. And students who cannot understand certain modules should be able to go to a lower level and try that. And there should be a good feedback mechanism between student and teacher. These are the things that we have to worry about, and it's going to be a challenging task for all of us, and which we will do. I hope we will come up with a good solution.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, with the university's initiative of constituting a technology committee, which could study and make recommendations on the new online platforms, will definitely help us, and we will take the challenge in a very positive way and come out with new solutions, sir. Now, coming back to Mr. Syed, sir, industry operations are disrupted and corporates are looking for new business model, as you said. What new courses or addition in existing courses do you suggest? And again, do corporates have any plans to change their HR policies, recruitment process, as lockdown could not allow them to visit campuses? Because I also want to know what timeline for normalcy of operations. We don't have answers for this question, I know, but as a insider, you can throw some light on these issues. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Professor, that's a very pertinent question. But to be very honest, at this point in time, we need to just protect the available jobs. We need to protect, the available jobs with close to 2 months of inactivity. The damage, cost to the base cost of any organization is the primary, requirement for anybody, to do that. So, and then afterwards, like we say that the new normals are going to come in place. The new normals are really going to trigger a lot of opportunity, particularly for the manufacturing industry. I want to emphasize on that. And when that gets triggered, people need not only wait for the industries to scale up and then try to find opportunity. And one of the panelists also in the initial talked about the entrepreneurship. I think Professor Rao spoke about the entrepreneurship. That is where people have to utilize the current opportunity as to which are the opportunities, what I can do. A simple thing, today I know in Pondicherry, how many people who don't know what is a mask has already started producing a mask, right? So that way you have to really leverage and capitalize on those kind of opportunities and see what indigenization means, what localization means, right? So that way opportunities are going to be plenty. And when we talk about online stuff also, online thing is not the kind of online, what we think. And I think Professor Balakrishnan made that excellent point, that it is not simply recording a lecture and then putting it. That way you go on Google, any subject for any matter, any expert, you always get it. But is it going to be effective? Is it going to reach, the person who wants to get himself educated? No. So even that kind of a context, online mode of doing business, online mode of teaching, online mode of servicing, in all these things, there needs to be some new products. There needs to be some innovations. There needs to be some customized solutions. So the opportunities are really going to be plenty in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of the businesses expansion, and then there, the opportunities getting created. So this will be, the basic, data points on which, we need to mold, the people coming out. And now for the next 1 year, we have to wither away, this problem. We will have to understand, there will be some kind of a stagnation, but all the stagnation is only to bounce back. Like Mr. Kalai said, it's a sinusoidal wave, and we need to come back. We need to come back more strongly. And in that context, we need to align ourselves to the new requirements.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, we will look forward to the new normal, and we will strategize to manage the situation. Now, coming back to Mr. Kalai, we all know the Sustainable Development Goal 17, which deals with partnership for success. So, School of Management and Pondicherry University has a belief on that Sustainable Development Goal 17. And we have a lot of MOUs, we have a lot of partnerships, and CII also we are partnered with. Apart from the existing tie-ups or partnerships, do you suggest anything more, like MOU with individual corporate tapping CSR funds? Because we will be now requiring lot of financial support because the government also has reduced the funding to educational institutions. And financial sustainability is going to be a big challenge for all educational institutions. So in this regard, how you are suggesting, or what kind of new partnerships you suggest to the universities and especially for School of Management?
Apart from the stated objectives and the MOUs, I think one area, in fact, this point is also a part of the MOU, I think, which is the incubation cell. I know Pondicherry University is getting into Atal Social Step-Up Incubation Program, and that is an area where industry collaboration may be very much required. On CSR front, yes, as such, with the companies, if the economy is going to continue like this, I'm sure many of the industries may not even qualify for CSR. So we'll have to wait and see how the economy is taking shape, and once possibly the economy is back on its track, the companies perform well and they obviously have their CSR funds at their disposal. Here in Pondicherry, I think from the university side, a close coordination with CII industries is the only way to probably engage with them and then take the help of their CSR funds to your projects like Step Up project, or really Professor Chandrasekhar Rao often touched upon the entrepreneurship. Very, very valid. In fact, last year, if you remember, Doctor, we have initiated the entrepreneurship policy was put in place, and we also had an entrepreneurship program by CII. So I think a lot of scope is there in Pondicherry for all the students that are watching now. Many of you, if you have your entrepreneurship dreams, or if you have a good idea, now is the time to go ahead and try it out. Okay, instead of keep on looking for jobs, now is the time actually you can try out those ideas. A tremendous amount of infrastructure is available in terms of incubations and stuff like that across India. So I think we should motivate that, and the only way to have that done is to have a close coordination between the industries and Pondicherry University, Doctor.
Thank you, sir. And we are also looking for a lot of other partnerships as well. And with the Innovation Council, Startup Center, and IPR Cell, these are the initiatives which Pondicherry University is strengthening now. And we are also glad to say that that Atal Innovation Mission funding is now sanctioned for Pondicherry University to establish Atal Community Innovation Center. And we also had the National Innovation and Startup Policy, which was released, draft of the policy was released by MHRD Minister on May 8th. So we look forward to a lot of greener pastures for the students and faculty to come up, or to make them as entrepreneurs. So they have relaxed a lot of rules, regulations, even to skip a semester or take 1 year leave by student or faculty. So both students and faculty can start their own enterprises. So the provisions are available, and the funding support can be given with the help of this Atal funding. So we are going to have a better situation, I am hoping. So more students and faculty can concentrate on that. Now coming back to the financial sustainability, which is a big challenge for both corporate and institutions, that is educational institutions. I request our director, because now government funding has come down, and so the available funding with the household and other institutions will also be limited. And how university is going to manage, what financial strategies can help us, sir? Like, should we start new programs online, or should we introduce more DD courses, or should we cut non-essential expenses, or even diverting that traveling allowance in all the projects to digital infrastructure with approval of funding agencies, because we are not going to travel for at least 6 months to 9 months. So what are the ideas we have for this financial sustainability, sir? Over to Professor Balakrishnan.
Thank you. Actually, the Indian higher education system missed the bus, I would say, in globalization. Last 10 years or more, India had, the industries had caught up with the globalization and they have adjusted themselves. But whereas, sadly, the higher education has remained static, did not participate in the globalization. Why I'm telling, we can see none of the campuses, even if you go to the so-called IIT campus and all, how many foreign students are studying? If you go to a mediocre university in USA, an average university, you will find 20% of students are drawn from other countries. UK, you go, any university, Leeds or anywhere, 20 to 30%. In fact, in UK, university is sustained because of the foreign students only, because their fee structure is different. For foreign students, they charge 5 times or something more. Using that only, the universities are sustaining them to a great extent. Whereas we missed the bus. In India, we never thought whoever was in charge never thought that this is a kind of a business, this is a kind of industry. Higher education can be treated as an industry, and we should try to attract students. Students are from other countries. When they come here, they not only pay the fees and they're not only going to sustain our education system, they bring quality also. Once you have foreign students, the quality improves. And secondly, when they are going to be here, they are going to spend some money. Local things are also going to be enhanced. When they are buying some products from locally made, so that way, long term, they are going to benefit the society, which we have nobody thought about it in our country. That is one thing. But now, thanks to COVID-19, an opportunity is created. Here, now we can try to attract foreign students. They don't have to travel to India. If we have a right package of, a teaching learning program and executed through online, we can attract a number of foreign students. Suppose we are admitting 60 students in MBA, we can admit 600 students now. 60 may be from India, remaining may be from abroad. They may be participating in the program through online mode. So that way we can, and also the boundaries between distance learning and conventional learning is going to vanish. They are going to merge. What we call now conventional learning, partly it is going to be distance learning, or what they call, digitally or technology enabled online learning is going to come. So distance learning will fade away. So everything will be merged now. There will not be any sharp boundary between them. Having said that, financially, once we have more number of students from different parts of the world, then I think we can make ourselves sustainable through their fees and other things. This is what every university, Indian university should look at. That this is an opportunity, this is not a what we can say, a problem.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, we look forward to attract new international students. And also, as a finance expert, I feel we can also stop some spending, or we can cut costs, and also we can look for new generation, that is new cash flow generation ideas, which we will take it forward in a separate meeting, sir. Now, coming back to the next concern of our university and also industry, the admissions. It is very important for any university and B school to get talented students for admission. Now it is delayed, and I request our Dean School of Management to brief on what are the strategies you have in mind. Like Great Lakes has initiated Time Zero initiatives. They have completed almost all the B schools which are doing admissions on CAT score basis have completed their admissions online basis. And now they are actually giving all the bridge courses, everything online. Time Zero initiatives, they call that system. So do our School of Management has any plans to deal admission related challenges, sir?
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Of course, this year usually university completes the MBA admission by March, but this year in the March itself we have the problem, and the university general advertisement also on the way. I mean, March itself everything is ready. Because of this lockdown, we have kept on hold. Even the students wants to apply also, they cannot apply. Well, shortly I think university is taking a decision, and whether there will be lockdown 4 or not, at least there are some relaxations for doing admissions will be there. University is now likely to go on a big scale to advertise and attract the talent, because students everywhere, all over the country, they have had to take their final year examination, and they, of course, CAT exam over last November, they are ready with their results. But still, the mood of taking up admission exams are not there in the students unless they complete their graduation. So I think another 15-20 days after the completion of this lockdown, we will definitely go for an advertisement, and the students who have already applied for CAT, maybe we will give another 15 more days for those who have missed in applying and all that, and then we will commence the MBA admissions first, and then followed by university general admissions. Well, as you say, the students have lost a lot of their time, therefore there is a need some amount of background learning. And to begin with, maybe I am looking at this is already introduced in certain departments, certain MBA programs, bridge courses. The departments which attract students from different fields, they have already started some bridge courses like basics of business, basics of accounting, basics of computer programming, basics of statistics. So these are all very essential. Maybe these are all we will design it, because the students, the moment they take the end semester exams, once we give admissions, there will be at least a month or 2 months time is there before they literally come to the campus. During that period, we will be designing some what you say as the bridge courses. Reading. For them, we will be sending the material, and we'll also be sending the audio lectures, video lectures, so as to attract them towards those subjects and getting ready, make them ready for getting into the semester in a good way. So that is what I am looking at. Definitely admissions are delayed this year.
Thank you, sir.
We will definitely quickly making it at the moment the lockdown is lifted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I request Mr. Balan to enable the chat so that the audience can, participants can share their questions. If any participants has any question, you can send through chat. Yeah. Now, Professor Victor has given. Good afternoon, ma'am. Victor here. Would be grateful if you or any of the panelists highlight the measures taken to address the digital divide.
Yes, this is. Am I right? Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
See, suddenly this new mode of reaching the student and educating the student through online has started. Originally, we have not planned it. We have done almost 90% of our coursework is done in a regular mode. 10% is through online classes, and we are now looking for maybe online internal assessments and online exams and all that. But this is a national emergency, I have to tell you, because this is not very planned. Of late, the students, even from colleges onwards, they are all well connected with the digital mode. They are all having smartphones, they have connected with the net. Maybe sometimes some of them may not be able to reach the net centers, and the networks may not be working very well. But we know students have to apply everything online, and they have to take up nowadays online exams, and they have been taking up online exams, and they are also, if they don't have the facilities of computer networks at home, they have been using the net centers. So digital divide as such, only very rarely we find people from northeast or very rural areas or Andamans where there is no much connection. But the mainland student is not having this much problem, because if the digital divide is there, they might have got a lot of boredom, because unless they use WhatsApp very easy, for every few seconds, they will be out. So they have been into the digital mode. Only thing is the teaching learning, the method of teaching and learning, that we are not able to attract them. See, even when I started this discussion, about 100 and 120 people are there. People are not getting attracted unless they see our faces, unless they face-to-face interact with us. These are all the different versions we have had to start, because whatever readily available softwares we have used, Zoom and other things which are freely available, we have been using it and we are giving like a traditional classroom. But the students are looking for a little more advanced softwares that will attract them. If I'm able to load some documentaries, if I'm able to put some short films, and if I'm able to give live examples, and if I'm able to give clippings, the learning through this mode will become very attractive, which all I cannot do in a regular classroom also I can. And further, maybe the interactive video conferencing softwares may also be available shortly. We will scan it and find it out. Thereby, there will be a small interaction among the students themselves. They also want some socialization. When they get into a class, they want to know who are all present in the class, and they just want to a type of chat with their friends. Maybe physically it is not possible, so through video, and that gives them a feel of the behavior, the social behavior, socializing themselves among themselves, and then interacting with us. And this type of additional features we have introduced for us to attract the students to be live with our classes, and teachers also to do a lot of homework for this, and they have to also technologically get some necessary training to do this type of things. And definitely in a day or two, we have to, now that the situation has come, we have started in our own way, in our own way. So shortly we are going to do. So digital divide as such is Vice Chancellor is also addressing. In case there are very genuine cases, university is likely to organize at the end of the entire thing, maybe 15-20 days crash course before the exams. For them separately exams, online, instead of online exam, offline exams, let them be invited to the campus. If there is a possibility that they can come, and then definitely university will meet out those requirements if there is people who are not able to reach us. That is what I feel.
Thank you, sir. And there are some more questions. One is from Satya Kumar. I am a student, Department of BT. Sir, give a tip for top most 3 skills to become an entrepreneur during lockdown periods to practice to improve ourselves. I think they've already mentioned about online skills, then some kind of online courses, skill, that is upskilling of talents, both industry experts have shared. And the next question was from Lalita Ramakrishnan. Good afternoon, panelists. What are our university's plan for upgrading our technology, and what is the timeline for this? Already, I think Director Studies have explained this. And the third question is from Van. Even if everyone has smartphone and are digitally connected, internet network still has lag and other issues. How to ensure all the students get equal platform in this? Just now, Professor Rao answered that. Again, Sudale Muthu sir has come online, and for internship, instead of sending the students, is it possible to collect the industry requirements, and we'll ask our students to do the work under our guidance and submit to them? And I want to ask this from Mr. Syed sir. So he's routing the question to Syed sir. And I think it is a very long panel discussion. We are now about to close. I think one more question has come, and anybody wants to take up, we can take, then we will close the session. Good afternoon, panelists. It is from Angayar Karasi, PhD scholar of DMS. The discussion was very valuable. The COVID situation is going to remain for months to years. Will there be a labor crisis in the industry once when manufacturing industry reopen because of migrant crisis we had faced now? I think Syed or Mr. Syed or Mr. Kalai can take up these questions, both.
Yeah, thanks, Professor. Just to specifically respond to that internship question, I would say internship is definitely internship where the students need to come into the industry. They need to see the atmosphere. They need to see how now the theory is being put into practice. And I would suggest that that needs to continue rather than we sending our requirements not to the institution and you are working from the institution. I don't know if I had understood the question right, but if I am to give you the answer, internship is internship and the students have to come to the industry and work from there. That is my view.
Second is on migrant labor crisis because of the migrant labor involvement in industries.
Migrant labor issue is certainly temporary in my opinion, I would say. While I say it is temporary, that they may come back after some time and all that, there is a big learning. There is a big learning that if they are such a vital part of our chain, if they are such a vital link of our chain, why did we not recognize them? Why did we left them high and dry? Why are we suddenly seeing them on the TV and exclaiming that, oh, is there 20,000 people? Is there 40,000 people? Today we are behaving as if we are so innocent and then it's a news to us. So that's a very clear message to the industry that if the operations have been revolving around such a significant strength of the migrant labor, we need to certainly recognize them and take that word away, migrant and all that. They are going to be part of your system, they are going to be part of your employees, and if that is the case, treat them equally, do not leave them in the footpath. That will be my view.
Thank you, sir. And it is a power-packed session of 1.5 hours. And for want of time, now we can't take up any more questions. To sum up, this panel has given valuable inputs, and the new normal will be featured by online teaching and learning systems, strengthening of IT digital infrastructure, partnership for success, startups, innovations, upskilling of talents, new models, ideas, programs, systems for financial sustainability with a health and sanitization protocol, namely social distancing. We hope we come out successfully from this pandemic fight, and human beings are capable to rewrite the stories and drive coronavirus away with the scientific and technological advancements, of course, with social concerns. I thank all the panelists, especially from corporate side, for sparing their valuable time amidst this pandemic fight, and all the participants for their active involvement. I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, our Director of Studies, Professor Balakrishnan, Director Culture, and the Dean School of Management, Professor Rao, for their support and guidance to make this event a meaningful exercise. Thank you, one and all. Let us hope for the better future. Thank you.
Thank you. We will meet again.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
We will especially thank our industry experts who have helped us by putting new ideas for our MBA students or for our MBA faculty members. That is how the CAA has been helping us earlier, and they are our academic partners, and this time also they have provided lots of inputs. This will be definitely a good collaboration and interface for the university. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Kalai sir. And
thank you. We'll end the meeting with this note. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all.